The Mariners have cooled off since their hot August, and it's been a dreary September, but hopefully they'll turn it around soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Garrett.
Yeah, August is in the books. It was the best August in franchise history, best month in franchise history. 21 wins in a calendar month. That's huge.
The boys were hot.
Very hot. They were bound to come down to earth at some point. They are unfortunately back down to earth right now, and it's been a rough September, honestly. I mean, we're 9 days in, but it's been 9 rough games. Even the win we had against Tampa, just the 1-0 win, like, it's nice to shut out a team at home. That's cool. But still, just like 1-0, that's not enough. Our bullpen has been faltering. It's been a rough stretch into September.
Yeah, in July and in August, I mean, we didn't see the Texas Rangers sliding the way they did, and that coincided with the Mariners streaking, like a couple 8-game win streaks and like really bolstering themselves in the standings. The Mariners were in first place in the West. That was insane.
That was a good 3 days.
Like Houston, we know what Houston's gonna do, right? Like they're really cool and collected over there. They know that they're gonna keep winning games. They know how. They know what kind of mood to bring. They know how to like get it done down the stretch. And we kind of knew that they would be going for the division towards the end of the year. But the Rangers falling the way they did put the Mariners in a very advantageous position. The Blue Jays have been coming up behind all of these teams also, and now we're kind of stuck where if any of these teams lose, we're kind of out of the playoffs. It's really like a 4-team race there for the the second spot and the third spot.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Rays have the first wild card already locked up. They have 87 wins. They would be first place in pretty much every single division except like the NL East. But they just happen to be a couple games behind Baltimore, who is currently at 90 or 91 wins. Baltimore is having a hell of a season. So the first wild card spot is locked up, and you're battling for that play-in with the second and third wild card spot. Toronto has come up out of nowhere. They're back pursuing. Fortunately enough, Texas is 2 games back. Toronto and Mariners are currently tied second, third wild card spot. They have the same record. And Texas is still 2 games back. So at least I'm comfortable enough in thinking that the playoffs are still a legit possibility this season. Like
Definitely.
Yeah.
Even the division is within reach the way our schedule looks down the road.
That's very true. And like we've been saying, this last 2 weeks, last week and a half of the season is going to be absolutely insane. We just need to be winning these games right now. And the thing is, we haven't been playing great baseball, which I think is like the biggest issue, where even before in August and stuff, we'd lose those games and we're like, oh, they still played a good game. We just haven't been seeing good games.
Yeah, the Mariners were playing out of their mind, and they were on top of the world. Like, when you're in those types of streaks and like when you're locked in that way, you don't feel the fatigue the same way. You don't feel the losses the same way as when it's kind of middling, right? When your bats aren't flowing every day, when your pitching isn't on point every day. Like, I don't know, like after being so hot for so long, it's not sustainable, right? Especially for like a team like the Mariners, maybe for the Braves or Dodgers, like they're used to that. Mm-hmm. But the Mariners, it's like it took all of what they had to have that stretch that was so great, and now it's like, okay, it's like to exhale, right? And like it's okay because I think they showed how well they can play and for how long. There's still a few weeks left in the regular season, so the Mariners are definitely going to have a streak again, like at least a 4 or 5 game streak or like a 7 out of 10 ripper. And I have no doubts about that. This team is just on the exhale of their hot streak, in my opinion.
We also got real lucky. All those games we were losing, the Rangers were also losing on those days. I mean, it would have been great to capitalize on those wins. But, it's how the cookie crumbles, I suppose.
Yeah, the cookie be crumbling.
Yeah.
I think let's see. One of our biggest issues is our pitching right now. Our pitching has not been great. It's been okay. Sometimes our bullpen has not been good in the month of September. Bullpen has been atrocious, and that's not even one guy's fault. I mean, we were having our issues with Munoz and Brash being a little bit wild. But, I mean, go up and down the roster right now in the bullpen. Everyone is struggling, at least in some capacity. Topa, who is my favorite, he hasn't been as bad as the rest, but he's having his struggles. Gabe the Babe Spire is falling off a cliff in the month of September.
Yeah, the last 7 games, Gabe's been very bad. Like, he's been allowing base runners, and it sucks to see because he's the kind of guy that you put in for the matchup, the left-handed matchup. And when he doesn't get those outs, then it pushes us to make another pitching change soon because we don't want him in there against right-handed pitching. We want to play that matchup game, and it just eats more into our bullpen.
Yeah. Munoz straight up has the yips. Isaiah Campbell doesn't seem like that dude at all right now.
Isaiah Campbell's had some good moments. He's pitched better than the rest of the bullpen recently. But like Matt and I discussed in like the group text, not having him in high leverage situations, which
definitely.
I do agree on that point where I don't feel comfortable with him coming into the 8th and
me
being
either.
like a tied game or whatever.
No, I want to see that guy in the 6th or 7th maybe.
Yeah.
There's also Saucedo, who showed some promise early on in the season. He got his first save and he was stoked and he looked really good out there. He's not doing as good as I would hope he would.
Yeah, he gave up the walk-off home run today to Yandy Diaz Saturday against the Rays, and that was rough. I hate Yandy Diaz. I honestly hate the Rays in general. I always forget how much I hate their stadium, how much I don't like all the guys on their team except for like a couple of the guys. Randy Arozarena a cool guy. Maybe Josh Lowe because Lowe. I don't know. Josh Lowe. Josh Lowe, because he's just like neutral. But I hate so many of their players. Like they're a hard team to play and they're scrappy. They take advantage of every extra base they can, and every mistake you make, they're taking that edge. And they've been doing it for years. They know how to get the most out of players that aren't necessarily star players. They know how to position their players well. They pitch well every year. And they're always a hard team to play. So by the time they come around and play the Mariners again, I'm like, oh yeah, I hate this team. Like they're scrappy and they beat us in every little way they can. So it all adds up to at the end of the game, they're ahead.
Their stadium sucks.
It's bad.
Fuck the Trop.
Mm-hmm.
Dom Canzone's having a real tough time in that ceiling.
Yeah, Dom Canzone, his defense has been pretty above par for us. He's been looking really, really good out in the field. Not at the Trop, though, that he has been struggling this whole series trying to pick the ball up from the dome and
even off the turf, like the whole playing field.
Yeah,
I think it was mostly the Friday game, though. He was looking bad.
I believe he had an error on Saturday, too. He misplayed a ball off the wall.
Fuck.
He's been struggling. He just doesn't like it there. His defense has been great everywhere else, though, so I'm not too worried about it.
Me
He just
either.
hates that stadium, which
He's
is
young.
fine.
He's going there for the first time, like one of the first times in his career. You have to learn by experience, and that ceiling is not an easy place to read a fly ball at. Like,
hell no.
It just disappears.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio today, and they were saying that the Mariners specifically went out there and took
fly balls.
outfield practice.
Extra, yeah.
Like turn away, like get a pitching machine out there and just start launching them into the ceiling. Even like turn your back and then turn around once it goes off and try and spot it in the white background.
It's a really good drill.
That is a cool
Dude,
drill.
yeah.
I like that a lot.
I
But
remember doing that.
they definitely, after games 1 and 2, they were like, we need to get this added work in.
It's not only the relievers, though. We've had some struggles with our starters as well.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Yeah, just pitching in general. It's been, 2 weeks since a starting pitcher has had a truly dominant start. I would say the last 2 Castillo starts haven't been dominant.
I mean, Luis Castillo went 6 innings, no runs this last time out.
Start
it was
pretty good.
There was still like 5 walks though.
Yeah,
Yes.
4 walks, couple hits.
So
but
there's
like,
a struggle right there. But
it's
I mean,
effectively wild though. Like,
Yeah.
if he puts the ball in the zone, we see that they hit the ball in the air off of him a lot, and his problem's been
hard,
home
too.
runs.
Yeah.
So I think being effectively wild the way he was is almost more effective than when he's like on point and putting him like in the zone more often, because then
Maybe.
the exit velocity is lessened and guys are swinging at pitches that are on the edges and above the zone, below the zone, instead of like middle of the zone, you know. But somehow, I don't know, I like when he's effectively wild that way. I don't mind if he walks a few guys as long as we don't give up that big hit, which he didn't last time, and I was
True.
happy. It wasn't
Yeah.
dominant, but he didn't give up that big hit.
Yeah, I can live with a couple of walks as long as no runs scored. That's a good start, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
but-
props to him for working through that, and Cal working through that, and like getting through 6 that way.
Yeah, I just still, it's lucky that he didn't give up any runs in that start. You know, I mean, when you have 4
Sure.
or 5 walks, whatever it is, runs should score. And also it helped, Cal threw out a couple runners. That helped.
Yeah, Cal threw out Noelvi Marte and
And-
Ellie De La Cruz, which
Hell
is
yeah.
awesome.
And also, a lot of people have been kind of criticizing Cal's throws to second recently, too. I've seen it talking about him, like, kind of airmailing it a little bit. Not enough that it, like, goes to center field, but not, it's too high that the second baseman can't just drop a quick tag on. And that kind of put a stop to that real quick when you throw out 2 young, fast guys in the same series. So that was kind of nice to see that he's finding the target and still throwing runners out.
Right, and speaking of that Red Series, that's kind of where I was talking about where our starters faltered a little bit. Too many hit batters led to a couple
my
lost games because of it. You know, just putting too many guys on base. I think they hit like 3 or 4 guys in a day. Just like,
That Wu start, he hit, by the second inning, he had already hit 4 batters, I think. 3, I know it was at least 3. And
Yeah, he just could not get a feel for his stuff that day. He was just leaving them all inside, all arm side, inside to right-handed hitters, right? Like he just letting it fly. And it's not fun for either team when that's happening. Like for the batting team, you're like, come on, like can you like put it somewhere near the zone so I can swing. Like we're just getting destroyed over here. Like,
and it was
we-
the week after we recorded our show where we talked all kinds of shit about how Astros fans will say that we hit guys on purpose, and we're like, we don't play that kind of baseball. And then we go out and we hit 4 guys in a day, and we're like, this is a bad look.
yeah.
That sucks hard.
We don't play that kind of
We
baseball.
don't.
It is
but
true.
But
We
it looks
don't.
bad when we come out and say that kind of thing. And we have the stats to back it up. We hit the fewest amount of batters.
Yeah,
But
and
then,
it ju-
like, one bad game looks shitty.
it was just really unfortunate.
Yeah.
At least the only bright side is that very clearly none of them were intentional. And it was just Wu not being able to locate. But even still, I don't. You can't be hitting 4 people in a game. That's a problem in Little League. They'll pull your ass off the mound if you keep pegging people.
Wu made my shit list that day. He pissed me off so bad. And I was really hoping, he could come back and show that he can do it. He can get it
Bounce
done.
back start.
Yeah. And then he missed his start today, and we had a bullpen day, and he fucked us there too. So now he's on the shit list for sure.
I've been worried about Wu for a while because it goes back to when he missed his start with a shoulder strain. And I think that's really the turning point for when, like, Wu has gone downhill. He's had command issues. He hasn't gone as deep into games. He doesn't have the strikeout stuff. Like, he's just not as sharp. And mentally, too, if you're kind of feeling something in your shoulder but trying to pitch through it because you're a young guy on a team that really needs it down the stretch, like, it's tough. We've already gone through enough starting pitching to know that we're kind of on our last legs with, like, good starting pitching. And Wu can be that guy. There's still room for redemption, but, like, he missed his start today against the Rays, right? So we had to start Thornton and have Weaver piggyback, and it was a mess. And it's easy to get mad at Wu, but if he's struggling through a injury issue, and he's trying to push through. Like, it's hard to be mad at him, but like, just admit you're hurt so we can figure out what's going on, or like, are you okay? Like, what's happening here? It's his first season. He's a rookie. It's hard to trust. Yeah,
That's true.
it's hard to like trust that guy's going to be there for us down the road. But I still think there's room for a couple redemption starts in the next couple weeks.
I really hope so. And I think a bunch of fans are going to say, he's a competitor. He's got that dog in him. He wants to go out there even if he's hurt. Dude, that's going to fuck us in the long run. I'm with you. Just let him know. Be like, hey, you might want to pull up Tommy Malone or something. Anybody.
We don't want to Otani him.
Yeah, or anybody.
Yeah. And another Logan Gilbert, less than stellar. He's been okay. I mean, he's having a great season. This is more so just this last 2 weeks.
Again, he did have 9 strikeouts, but he only went like 5 1/3 innings or something like that in his last start. Or one of his last starts. Like, he has the strikeout stuff, but yeah, it's tough when.
Well, and our bullpen is getting no rest.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Our bullpen is taxed. It's starting to show. And we've always talked this whole year about how strong our bullpen is, but it's almost like a product of the system. They were so strong because our starting pitching was so strong. So they didn't have to work as hard, if you get what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, but
we had a plethora of lanes to finish games out when our starters were dominant and going deep every game.
2
Right.
closers a day.
Everyone
Yeah.
had rest.
Good to go.
everyone had
4
rest.
closers a day. They're going to get taxed.
Yeah, our bullpens had crazy usage. You're right.
Closers, relievers. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, our relief pitchers have all been taxed a little bit. Like, it's nice that we have a little bit of expansion here in September, going from 26 to 28 players. But when we add Dominic Leone or something,
I was just going to say, what did we do with our fucking expansion? We added Luke Dogshit Weaver and Dominic Dogshit Leone.
it's not good. Like,
I'm
those guys are
pissed.
like
Yeah.
Luke Weaver's never been a good pitcher.
We have pitchers in our system. Where's Juan Then?
Yeah,
Where's Tommy Malone? Where's Prelander Baroa?
Where's
Devin
Devin
Sweet? Where's all these guys? Why are we using these old washed up dipshit players? I'm pissed off right now.
Tyler Adcock's there. We got guys on our 40-man we can bring back up.
You
Yeah.
think we don't have younger guys that can give up a fucking run? Why are we using these guys? At least get some reps in for the young guys,
Putting
people
Luke-
who are on this team, not people who we picked up 2 fucking weeks ago.
Yeah, Luke Weaver's basically Chris Flexen. Like, why do we need that again? We fixed that. Now why are we doing that again? It's bad. It's bad usage of our roster right now. I think when they come home, they're gonna do some roster moves, and they'll be home soon. Like this. They're playing the Angels at home, and we can actually make some roster moves from Tacoma.
Come to my window. I'll be home soon.
Come to my window.
Crawl inside, wave by the light of the moon. I don't know if we can keep that in. Can you sing stuff? Did I get in
of
trouble?
course, yeah.
I think it's
Melissa
more of the
Etheridge
instrumental.
It has to be like in context, and you have to react or like make it original content.
All right,
in
well,
some
then
way.
Melissa Etheridge
This
stays.
is
whole thing
original
stays.
content. Yes, it's our rendition.
Shout out Melissa Etheridge.
So they'll be home soon. They're going to make roster moves.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they
Like-
have to. And God, the Mariners just need a day off. We mentioned last episode talking about how brutal this road trip is going to be. A lot of traveling, no days off. They're coming back, still no days off.
Luckily, it's an early game tomorrow on Sunday, and they can travel back. But yeah, no day off in between.
Please split the series with the Rays.
We need to take this game, even if it's another 1-0 nail biter. Like, come home with a win and play the Angels. We should roll the Angels. But like, it sucks to be on this, like you were saying, this tough road trip. It's been so long since we've had a day off. We've been traveling the East Coast, and we have to come home and play the Angels. Like, I'm kind of worried that even though it seems like an easy series, that we're tired, we're taxed a little bit.
Dude, they're frustrated. We're frustrated. It's a tough trip.
It's been a very, very tough trip. And, it's kind of like, what is that? Like Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will. And it is right now. We've been a rough road trip, tired, Bullpen's overused. Starters not going deep in games. Our hitting has been okay. Even in our losses, we're putting up runs. It's just our pitching has just been struggling.
George Kirby hit a couple batters and walked a few guys, like hit a batter and walked a couple guys in the first inning of his start. He kind of settled down and like battled through 6 and through like 91 pitches. And I was like, all right, good. He's getting out of there with like no extra damage. And the 7th inning comes around and George Kirby's still out there on the mound because our bullpen's been taxed, like we were just talking about. And Kirby himself was frustrated. Everyone knows he had to battle through those 6 innings to not give up any extra runs, to manage the base runners, to do everything he can to not give up another run because he kind of fucked up in the first inning. And he's mad at himself already. And I even sent a message in the text chat. I was like, all right, good. Nice job, Kirb. Got through 6, like no extra damage. Sick. Let's go to our bullpen. He's out there in the 7th. And I was like, wait, what just happened? Is it the 7th inning? Like, but he shouldn't have been out there. And in my opinion, we just go to our bullpen there. But apparently our bullpen's too taxed to do that, even with an expanded roster.
He
confused.
shouldn't have been out there in his opinion too, and it caused a whole shitstorm.
Right.
I'm actually glad you brought it up. Let's dive into the big topic of discussion across the Mariners universe. Is after George Kirby's start of coming out in the 7th and giving up those runs, he then gave a press conference after the game saying that he didn't want to be out there. He didn't feel like he should be out there anymore. Scott told him to go back out. And he didn't want to be there. That caused a ton of backlash. And I even kind of sided with some of the backlash on this. I understand Kirby being frustrated, but I really, really don't like him going to the media about that. And that is something that doesn't happen on winning teams. And another point we've brought up so many times, winning solves everything. When teams aren't winning, that's when you hear about the bullshit behind the scenes or leaks to the media and this, that, and the other. And currently, that is exactly what's happening.
It wasn't even a leak, though.
No,
He
it wasn't.
straight up
That's
said
true.
some shit.
It wasn't a leak.
So it's
but like
kinda
those are
on
the
him.
type.
But
yes.
like you're saying, he should have kept that behind closed doors. Went to talk to Scott afterward. Like
Yeah.
now we know that they met and had a long talk about it. He has since apologized. Scott forgave him. Should be case closed. But it's kind of taken the whole baseball world by storm. People are freaking out on Twitter. Roger Clemens is tweeting about it.
Jared Weaver.
Jared Weaver has some shit to say.
Like, let's not forget that George Kirby, he's still a young guy. Like, he's an up-and-coming, like, force in this league, in my opinion. And he goes out there with a lot of intensity. And he doesn't necessarily show it all the time, but we could tell all day that he was frustrated. He, like, waved off the umpire that was trying to tell him, like, you need to wait for the batter to look up. He's like, he had to struggle through his whole start, and then by the time he gets to his press conference, you think he's like, oh, whatever, it's already gone. Like, no, all day you're still feeling that after a game. You're still like, and he's a straight shooter. He likes to be that way a little bit. He's kind of edgy, you know what I mean? And maybe he needs to learn from this type of situation.
Oh,
That's
for
why
sure.
he talks with Scott. They have the apology. It's a young guy having growing pains in this league. Late in
Absolutely,
this
but
season.
we didn't need to hear about it. This
No.
all could have happened, and no one needed to know.
I think it's okay that it happens. I don't
Yeah.
think it's detrimental to
Yeah, learning moment for
anybody.
sure.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Cooler heads prevail. Just chill out. Deal with that shit later.
He's still going to be George Kirby.
Yeah, he's one of the best starters in the league.
Yeah.
I got a couple things on that. One, it will disappear if the Mariners win. If the Mariners split the series with the Rays and come home, it will get forgotten about. If the Mariners lose, it's still going to be a hot topic because that's what gets focused on when teams are losing. Another thing, I've mentioned this before. I've heard some interviews with George Kirby, like him talking with the media previously. And I've mentioned before, I thought he was kind of a dick. He just seems like an asshole, kind of, a little bit. I mean, I don't know the dude, haven't met him. Just going off of like kind of the vibe in interviews and stuff while listening to him, he just seems like kind of a jerk, which again, this isn't the best friends league. No one, you don't have to be a saint. It's okay if you're an asshole or whatever, as long as it doesn't affect the team.
That's what Scott came out and said today. I mean, in less words.
Yeah, but
You're
that
putting
is
it in
what
the Patrick way. But Scott basically said that.
Yeah. Once it you mess up or whatever and it's on you, that's one thing. When you start affecting when you start affecting your teammates negatively, it becomes an issue. And Scott's been around for a little bit. He's seen some of those terrible clubhouse shit that happened when the guys hated each other and no one was getting along. Marco Gonzalez threw what's his face into a locker. That one pitcher, I'm blanking on his name right now. It started with a B. His last name was a B.
Bernardino. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
But Marco Gonzalez threw a pitcher into a locker.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that, Scott's been through this, so he doesn't want to see it happening again. And hopefully, he's wiser now. Hopefully he can, it's already kind of nipped in the bud, but hopefully it stays that way.
It just seems like a George Kirby personality thing. To be a guy with that much talent and to be young and up and coming in the league on a team that's competing for the playoffs, there's a lot riding on his life right now, on his career, everything. And he's a very, very confident guy. And overconfidence can be a problem, but it's just part of who he is and his competitiveness. You know what I mean?
Well, and why shouldn't you go out there and think I'm the shit?
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna get you through a lot of tough situations. It's a good thing. I'm not trying to dog Kirby at all.
No, I'm just saying if that mindset carries over to post game interviews.
Oh yeah,
then it's
that's
like
an issue.
Just, you gotta learn to flip the switch and be that guy on the field and then reflect on it pre-interview, you know what I mean? And know what to say to help your team feel good, to help people feel good about what your team is doing. And you can't go out there and say you shouldn't have been out there that inning. You should know that. He has to take some steps maturity wise, which is a problem with a young team. It's always a problem with a young team. Mm-hmm. So we'll see, man. I just hope his next start is good so we don't have to reflect on that in a negative
light.
light.
We don't have to dwell on this
anymore.
anymore.
We can just move forward and know that he's going to be a better teammate and a better person in the long run. I have nothing but confidence in him and his personality. I think it gives him that edge to be the best he can be. So it comes, you take what you get with that type of personality.
And, we're just as guilty of getting sucked into this Kirby thing, too. But I think it is
we're invested.
It is worth talking about, too, because he's definitely young and upset. And now it's funny because I saw from, Ryan Divish today on Twitter. He's like, oh, yeah, that's Furious George. So apparently his anger has been known for quite a while, and now the Mariners are losing a little bit. That's when it starts making its rounds and becoming public knowledge.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen that edge. I know he has that edge. I just, he has to learn how to dial it back in certain situations and know when to say the right thing, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, totally. I also have a problem with all the old heads coming out and being like, it wasn't like this back in the day, where I pitched a doubleheader, 2 complete games. I wasn't crying about it. It's shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Roger Clemens can suck a fat one.
That's not what he said, but
that's
more.
But that he was like, oh,
chill out, dude.
Roger Clemens was on steroids his whole entire career, and Jared Weaver. It's easy to keep your arm rested when most high school kids throw faster than you. But yeah, them coming out of the woodwork and honestly, it's just giving the Mariners negative attention that we shouldn't be having right now. And now it's more easy to pile on and rip on the Mariners.
I'm just happy that the Mariners are in the national scope and that people are paying attention to what's going on with the Mariners and Rays series right now.
The AL West is the most interesting thing in baseball right now. It's the hottest race.
3-headed monster over here in the West. We thought the AL East all season would have 3 teams in, and now look at the West, dude. The West is here, and the Mariners really have a lot to prove here.
Yeah, they made a huge surge. They made a huge impact on their season, on the whole baseball season. Now people are watching. The baseball world is watching. It's just a bad time for something like this to come out and draw negative attention to something that is very positive. The Mariners are crushed August.
Yeah, kind of a wake me up when September ends situation though right now.
For sure. I mean, we got we got about 3 weeks left in the season, and we come home and play both LA teams, the LA Angels and the LA Dodgers.
It is not a good time in our season to play the Dodgers.
No.
I'm so mad that
I'm happy we get to come home on the Angels a little bit softer side, even though we don't have that day off. But then we get the day off in between the Dodgers series and kind of reset.
I'm nervous about the Angels series. It's always heated when we play the Angels, and I don't need them to be heated.
I don't even think
on the back end of a long stretch with no days off.
I don't even think the Angels have any players now. Trout and Ohtani are both hurt. Rendon's hurt. They put half of their roster on waivers.
And Grichuk's the only guy that
we
came
picked up
back
one
around.
of them.
Yeah.
And he can go fuck right back off to wherever the fuck he came from.
They have a pretty bad roster right now. I mean, the Mariners should sweep the Angels after coming off of the tough teams they've been playing. Like, Cincinnati's been hot. Let's not get it twisted. Like, Cincinnati has a young team. They've been calling up all kinds of guys that have been getting it done for them down the stretch. They're playing energetic baseball and for a playoff spot in the National League. Like, the Reds wasn't an easy series like it looked like. We're not used to seeing and playing against National League teams. Like, remember, this is the first year we see so many National League teams, and it's become normal now, but like the Reds are a team that are not to be fucked with. Like, they are pretty good right now, and I don't feel as bad losing that series, but it just sucks because they walked us off, right? Like, there's the Topa walk off where it was just rough. We should have taken that series. We could have taken that series. Same with the Mets. Like,
the Mets one hurts. The Mets are garbage.
We could have easily taken both of those series, and we had games in those series that came down to one run or walk-off situations, and that's what's happening here in Tampa Bay too. So, like, we really need to shore up the end of the bullpen on the road. And our next road trip's going to be Oakland, Texas, so it's not as hard, and it's not as hard of a travel schedule either before we come back home for Houston and Texas. So I like our schedule. I like that we have the days off on Thursdays, and we should be back on track after our day off on Thursday after the Angels series. I like where the Mariners line up for, like, to make that last 2-week stretch. Like, I really do. And I think that they're going to get hot again. I could not see them going back to June Mariners. You know what I mean? Like, they have been this last week. It's been rough, but I know that it's a regrouping time. It's a time that the right guys have to get the rest, and they'll be in there with the right kind of energy for the last 2 weeks because we have to be hot at the right time.
I'm looking at the Angels' last couple of series. You guys might be right. I might not need to worry about this at all.
Yeah,
They fucking suck.
They're
in
really
the
bad.
dumpster.
Yeah, they got swept by the A's.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
They have
That's
nobody.
awesome. Go Oakland.
The A's are at least calling up young players that want to do it, and
right after that, they got swept by the Orioles. Back-to-back sweeps.
The Angels
Fuck
are a dumpster fire.
Good.
And the Orioles are really good.
Yeah, not too worried. It's just hard coming off of our long road trip to face them with no extra day off after a travel day, and yeah, we have to take this win against the Rays on Sunday.
Yeah, we got to split the series there. Kind of nice 4-game series, so you can still split. And then, yeah, really need to take it to the Angels. The Dodgers series is going to be tough, but hopefully that at-home off day will give everyone a chance to reset their batteries and kind of get back to clicking.
I just want to talk about J.P. Crawford for a second. This dude,
Best Mariner.
This
Best
dude
Mariner.
is the best Mariner. He is at the top of our lineup. I talked to a friend, a fellow Mariners fan, who has been talking to J.P. Crawford, and he was saying he's egging J.P. on to get more runs than Julio Rodriguez this year. And they're really close. They're both like at 90-ish, 92 right now. And he's like, if J.P. Crawford gets more runs than Julio Rodriguez, they'll definitely win the division. Or like he's making it a point where if J.P. has more runs than Julio has, then like it's game on. They're going deep into the playoffs. Like, And that's kind of his coin flip. And right now, I'm going to look up these stats here real quick because it's kind of funny. He has 83 runs. J.P. Crawford. Let's see what his on-base percentage is also. I want to shout that out. 381. His on-base percentage is 381. The man is a monster. He gets on base more than any other Mariner. I think he's maybe has the most walks in the league. And he's one of the most productive offensive players in the league. He's made it onto the top 10 list of WAR, like offensive WAR this season in the American League, which is insane. Like J.P. Crawford, it's his third full year playing baseball. Like for the Mariners especially, they gave him a chance in 2021. He had a breakout full season. He's out there every game grinding, every game that he can be. And I love J.P. Crawford. I'm going to check Julio's runs here and see how far behind him he is, because I think JP should have more runs than Julio this year. They're going deep. Matt finding stats.
Matt stats.
Julio Rodriguez has 89 runs, so they are not far apart.
Interesting.
I know, yeah. It's just some random thing. Some dude has like a thing he's watching, and that's what he's watching. And it is a good race. It is a good race.
He's been talking to J.P. Crawford?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Me too.
Me too.
We text.
No. He
Best
stopped
Mariner.
texting me.
Yeah, so hopefully we can, talk to J.P. Crawford one of these days, get him on the pod, first interview, something like that.
I'll see what I can do.
I'll put my fingers in that pot, see what happens.
There's a better way to reach out to dudes.
Yeah, you're right. I'll get his number.
What do you think, Patrick? What's on your mind? We're going off script here. What have you been thinking lately, Patrick?
Yeah, what's the deal?
Do you got any major gripes?
What's the deal?
You got any
what's the deal?
What's helping you hold on to this season, giving you all the confidence?
Oh, I mean,
where are you at?
Are you
Just
nervous?
general
Are you
sense.
confident?
Honestly, realistically, I am confident. I know the team is going to make the playoffs. I mean, it's going to take an all-around collapse and Texas to surge again for the Mariners to not make the playoffs. I am not worried about missing the playoffs at all. So I feel comfortable about that. I don't like watching bad baseball. And I mean, the Mariners for 20 years, it was pretty much just all bad. And so now that we've had like this taste of good, when bad baseball starts coming up, even for like a week or 2 weeks here after having such an amazing month previous, it bothers me. I don't like watching shit baseball. It frustrates me. I love the Mariners with all my heart. And when they go out there and not perform well, it gets me going.
It's easy to hang your head quickly, right? Like when you just know this game is we make errors, we're swinging at bad pitches, get picked off all in a row, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing just really is discouraging after watching that kind of thing for so long, 15, 20 years. Yeah, I know what you mean, dude. It's hard to override that, and it's easy to be nervous quickly. And I've felt that way where it's it's everything now, or everything's riding on these games now. Imagine how these players feel too. I couldn't imagine being one of those guys right now. Especially with how many young players are pushing for it for the first time, and how many players that as a group, as a core, are pushing for it for the first time, and it's really meaningful to them and each other, and doing it for each other too. It's that's got to be so stressful, because I get nervous quickly.
Another thing is with baseball, with having a game damn near every day, it's such a quick turnaround from everything is clicking to this is falling apart to it's starting to get fixed again. That's just the name of the game, and it ebbs and flows really, really quickly. I mean, we've, the last 4 episodes, we've gone from talking about how Munoz should be our closer to Munoz has the yips to he's doing better and now he's struggling again. The bats up and down throughout the point of the season. And so, who knows? I mean, in the week until we record next episode, maybe the Mariners win 5 games since then, and our opinions flip again, and we're like, oh, we're back for the division.
We never doubted him.
Yeah. And I truly, truly believe the division is still a possibility. I know the playoffs are damn near guaranteed.
We're only 1.5 games out of the division. This is very much in reach.
Yeah. And the Astros did win on Saturday when the Mariners lost, but on Friday or Thursday, one of the games that we also lost against the Rays, Astros lost that day too. So we're not losing too much ground. The division is in grabbing distance. It's right there. It can still be taken. The last couple of weeks of the season will really decide that. And yeah, I'm a little frustrated watching bad baseball, but
coming off what seems like the hottest August in MLB history for us, going into a soggy September.
It is very soggy.
It feels bad.
It's soggy.
But at the end of September, I don't want to look back and say, wow, what a soggy September.
Yeah.
I kind of like that we're playing the Dodgers, honestly, after our day off, after playing the Angels coming home. We're playing the Dodgers next weekend, and I think that's a great wake-up call. Like, they have to play well.
Playing the Rays isn't a wake-up call?
Of course it is.
We're hoping to split a series?
Of course it is. I mean, we are hoping to split a series. They still play it again tomorrow. I mean, yeah, this is...
Yeah, but Dodgers going to Dodger.
Yeah, Mariners are going to Mariner.
That's true.
It's in our house.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers come up here and play us here. It's going to be a packed house all weekend. The Mariners have to show that they can do it in the big-time lights at home. No more 18 innings at home playoff.
Oh, my God.
This is playoff-style baseball, though. Like, this Rays series should be... I mean, it is a playoff preview-style series towards the end of the season. It's great, but the Mariners show that they have, things that they need to shore up because the Rays will take advantage of every little thing, and the Mariners are still figuring out those little things.
I'm excited to play the Dodgers on Hispanic Heritage Night because last Hispanic Heritage Night, we popped off.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping for the same thing this time, and I'm hoping it's a fully packed house.
It's going to be.
Dude.
I mean, stadium's pretty much all sold out for that Dodger series already.
It's going to be
some tickets available, but not much.
It's going to be a lot of Dodgers jerseys, too. People love the Dodgers everywhere, and they travel well. It's the West Coast. Los Doyers are coming up here.
That's what I'm saying.
Against the Los Marineros. Los Marineros. Dude, I love those days. I've been to a few Hispanic Heritage Nights, and they're really fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. It's going to pop off. It's going to be full, packed crowd, a fun series, hopefully.
I really think that Dodgers series is prepping us for the end of the season there. We go from home against the Dodgers down to Oakland. We play Oakland at the Coliseum, and then we play Texas on the road. We come home and play Houston, and then we go to we play Texas at home too. To end the whole damn thing.
Damn, we're wrapping it up pretty soon.
Playing Houston at the end is gonna mean a lot. As long as we can stay within 2-3 games, like, we have a shot there. And hopefully we overtake them by that time, and we're holding on. And even if we tie at the end of the season with the Houston Astros, we win the tiebreaker.
Same with the Blue Jays.
So all we have to do is win, or tie Houston for the West, and we win the West too.
We're controlling our own destiny.
It's going to come down to the last games against Texas, Houston, and Texas again.
It's pretty exciting.
Catherine was hitting me up like, what tickets should we try to get for the end, because when could they clinch? And I was like, it could very well be the last game. I mean, they could clinch a playoff berth technically beforehand, but maybe 3 games before with how close the race is.
Like last year.
Yeah. But the division could very well go to the final game of the season to decide who wins it. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's very exciting. It's fun baseball. I almost wish that it was happening in another division and the Mariners were just cruising in first and everything was sunshine and rainbows. And I could be like, oh, look at that division. That looks like it's hectic. But instead, it's chaos and it's happening to us.
Yeah, let's all pay attention to the NL East while we just coast into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we're sniffing first place in our division. That's awesome.
Also, it's now been 2 years in a row that the Mariners have had a good baseball team, which is nice. We've talked before about the young core being here, about good for years to come. I think we're going to see a culture shift. I mean,
it's the hope. We're going into arbitration for a lot of these guys. We got to shore up every one of them. I mean, Logan Gilbert, Cal Raleigh, Matt, who else we got? We got a bunch of guys.
George Kirby,
yeah.
Ty France is towards the end of his arbitration.
We got to pay all these guys.
Tom Murphy.
Ty France can see what's out there on the market.
Probably.
Yeah, let him.
We've got guys we need to sign up, yeah. And then we have a few years on other guys, too. So, I mean, we are going to be spending money, and that's what they've told us in the last couple years, too, is they're like, you have to realize we're already spending money because these dudes are going to perform, and we have to pay them more on arbitration every year. We have to pay them
Not to mention
$4 million,
huge
$5
Ohtani
million.
contract we're going to have to shell out ducats for.
No, that's right.
That's so funny. I haven't even thought about Ohtani. Well, I mean, he's been injured and just the race, and it was easy to fantasize of like getting Ohtani when the Mariners were winning and everything was hunky dory because we're like just dreaming to the moon. And now that we're back on Earth, I just like.
Ohtani can't pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now everything's changed, dude. The whole picture has changed.
Everything is soggy.
No, I'm not too worried, man. The boys are going to dry out soon. They're going to be spry chicken in a week.
It's like wearing wool socks in winter and you step outside to grab the paper and you didn't realize it was all dewy. And you're just walking through the dew in your wool socks. That's what's happening. That's what September is.
At least they're woolen. And they retain 80% of the heat despite being wet and cold, like cotton. Cotton sucks. It like all your heat goes away. Anyway,
like walking to the paper.
At least they're
wearing
woolen socks.
socks.
This has been Matt's Winterwear podcast.
At least they're
We're
woolen.
a fashion podcast.
Anyway,
what
it is
socks
September.
are you gonna wear this winter?
Well, it is September, and this team goes when Julio goes. And Julio has slowed down considerably. Everyone else has kind of followed suit. Teoscar Hernandez is doing all right.
I think he's doing great.
He had like a 15-plus game hitting streak, which is the longest of his career. But, I mean, he's one of the performers in our roster right now, you know, as Julio's slowed down. I think as Julio heats up again, because he will, this dude's going to put this team on his back and go because he makes everything happen. There's so many moving parts on a baseball team, but with Teoscar, Eugenio, and Cal Raleigh hitting the way that they are, like despite Ty France's struggles, even a guy like Mike Ford has been doing pretty well. Dylan Moore has been putting the bat on the ball. Dom Canzone has been taking all the reps from Cade Marlowe. Like, this team has a lot more to give. They have a lot more, and they're gonna fire it right back up.
Rojas has been playing well.
Rojas has been playing fairly well. He had a tough game,
yeah, okay.
But since he's been here, yeah, he's been playing really well, and it's such a good replacement for a guy like Colton Wong. And
I haven't felt a way about a second baseman in such a long time that watching Josh Rojas, I'm like, hey,
it's a
second baseman,
a breath of fresh air.
Look at that.
I really do
have to
like
be
him.
great.
Yeah.
He has to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I really
that's what
do
I'm
like
talking
That's what I'm talking about. We got a second baseman. That's what I'm going to say.
But anyway, yeah, as Julio heats up, this team's going to go. No problem. The last 2 weeks are going to be the hottest Mariners team we've seen. They're going to put up 10 runs every game. Calling it right now. Stamp it.
Stamp it.
No, not really. But you know what I'm saying. This team has a lot more to give, and we're going to see it. I'm excited.
Real quick, where are we at on Tom Murphy?
He's coming back soon, I think.
Good. Love Tom Murphy.
Tom Murphy, yeah, he had a sprained thumb or something. I saw that.
How about O'Keefe?
Oh, man.
Our third catcher that never gets any time.
The 30-year-old rookie that almost hit his first home run today.
Almost. Damn, replay review called it back.
Dude, right off the top of the wall. And
Scammed
back.
at the Trop.
Oh,
it's not the first, and
It
he
sounds
won't
like
be
a
the
Magic
last.
Treehouse book
Scammed at the Trop.
Mariners scammed at the Trop
on Tuesday.
on Tuesday. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, but all their book titles like had a day of the week with it.
Did it?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't read enough Magic Treehouse.
Yeah.
I was really into
Neither.
Choose Your Own Adventure.
It was like revolutionary.
Goosebumps books.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude.
Dude,
Choose
me and
Your Own
Patrick,
Adventure, Goosebumps.
Misty Campbell's class, Dude, we read a lot of Choose Your Own Adventures Goosebumps.
You know, the first
Those
time
were
I
dope.
read a Choose Your Own Adventures book, I was really, really young, and I didn't understand the concept. So I was
read
just
that
reading
shit?
the pages in order. I had
book
no.
fucking
I was
sucks.
like, "What the hell is happening?"
R.L. Stein fell
I
off, dude.
felt like I was in the damn Twilight Zone. I had no idea what was going on.
This author's drunk.
I was just like, "What is?"
I could write a better book
happening?
than this. It sucks.
They put the pages together all wrong.
This is not chronologically accurate.
Yeah, Tom Murphy should be back. I heard that he was able to ramp up baseball activities, and he got like a spiked pitch into his thumb and sprained it, but he should be back soon. We really do need that offensive punch, even from the bench, or like using Cal Raleigh as a DH was very effective. I liked that a lot.
Dude, that ruled. I was so happy when we had Murphy and Raleigh in the lineup on
Yeah.
the same day.
That was great.
I loved it.
So that should be back soon. Another guy that's been injured for quite a while, Jared Kelenic. His foot is getting better. He's been out of his boot. I did say last week that he looked kind of hobbled on his single through the infield. His first hit back. It was his first hit since rehabbing, and it looked rough. Apparently, dude's been killing pitching in AAA. His
Yeah, well.
OPS of like 1.2 something.
4A
Remember when
players
Mike-
are known to do that.
Yeah, I remember when Mike Zunino used to get sent down to Tacoma and bat like 400 and hit 50 bombs, and then gets called back up and can't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
This one's for you, Owen.
As long as Jared Kelenic can run, then we should be all right, at least using him as a DH or like a pinch hitter. I don't know about putting him in the field and having him run all around and do all the baseball moves or having him steal bases, but like if his foot is getting more flexible and he can hit, then that will be a benefit for us. I mean, Cade Marlowe has been basically doing nothing since Dom Canzone has come over, and we've only used him in like pinch running situations here and there, and it kind of is just a nothing on our roster right now. It's just kind of an extra guy to stick out there defensively or on the base pass if we need him, which sucks because he did start out hitting pretty well. He has a sweet swing, and I can see him developing into a nice player, but right now might as well just bring Kelenic back up and send Marlowe back when Kelnic's ready. And he should be ready soon. He's been playing for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, and I was joking, like ripping on Kelenic a little bit, but I want him to come back. I want him to come back healthy and maybe give a nice little added depth to this lineup. But we've also been on the Kelenic teeter-totter his whole tenure with the Mariners.
I'm more totter than teeter on Kelenic.
I've teetered and tottered.
If he didn't break his foot, at least we would have seen the whole year of Kelenic. But now we're kind of like, there's another big gap. So we have to see what happens again. And it's only a few weeks left in the regular season. So at least we saw something better from him and showed that he can be a breakout player. Even
Break
later
being
in
the
his
operative word.
yeah, he can be a breakout player. He can be a star player, is what I'm saying. Like, he has the potential to be that kind of hitter, but he hasn't fully shown it, and we need him to be healthy. He kind of fucked up, man. I think that's another rookie mistake and shows the naivete of the Mariners' young core. So that's kind of where the team's at right now, honestly. We're young, new to the ball. We're a young core with front office and coaching staff that hasn't really been there before, and like I feel the naivete, but like we're growing. There's a lot of growing pains, and that's kind of where I feel like our team is at right now. I am confident, but I get nervous easily. It's like
As we all do.
It's like going to your first dance and asking a girl out and like going to go through all the motions and like being nervous and excited and confident and like knowing that like everything's gonna be okay in the end, and we're gonna win. You know what I mean? And like that's the real thing is this winning culture is just growing. It's new. It's expanding rapidly, and all I want to see is that to continue the rest of this year into the playoffs, and looking forward to next year. Things look really good compared to what they looked like 2018. You know what I mean? That was kind of the beginning the beginning of everything. Like the real rebuild happened when we made those trades with the Padres and everything. And it's coming to fruition. I'm just excited. Like in the big picture, the Mariners have arrived.
And we have arrived at the end of this episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week to give you all the Mariners news and hopefully good news and maybe the Mariners taking the division.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes.
We'll find out next week. Thank you all for listening and
Go Mariners!
John Travolta's a fucking weirdo.